Bonjour, hello, welcome back to Deals with Simon. Look, if you're still asking yourself the question, if Dubai is the right market to invest or not, then honestly speaking, you're asking yourself the wrong question. The right question should be, how do I structure my investments the most suitable way possible? How do I minimize risk and how do I maximize the upwards potential? This should be the core question on your mind. And since I got a lot of questions, how I actually structure those kind of investments and how some of my clients actually achieve 15, 20, 25% per annum with their overall investment portfolios, how is that actually possible in this real estate industry? I'd like to give you an insight what kind of products I'm selecting, okay? And what are the exit strategies? And overall, how are they matching with the individual and unique requirements and objectives of all of my clients? This video is going to be very exciting, okay? Stick with me till the end because the information that I'm revealing is super essential for your journey. All right, let's get into it. So number one is always the definition of the objective in the first place. Because without knowing and without understanding what has to be accomplished, it's literally impossible to select and choose the right unit, right? So if your goal is to own a home for yourself, you might have complete different requirements compared to you want to build a portfolio out of properties which you can rent out long-term and short-term in a combination, okay? So this is basically the most important question which we need to clarify at the beginning. What should be accomplished? And therefore, I prepared basically 3 core questions. Obviously, we can go deeper and deeper, but in order to keep it as simple as possible, let's ask ourselves those 3 questions. The goal could be, for example, in the first place, to maximize short-term equity growth. So what that means is literally the ROE, the return on equity. If you're not 100% certain yet what that means, I made a separate video on my channel Deals Assignment where I'm explaining the difference between ROE and ROI, okay? It's a must watch because I go in depth when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the calculation and breakdown. But basically here, we are looking for properties which we can, let's say, resell as soon as possible as we reach a certain percentage of profit, okay? Now, this could be number 1. Number 2 could be, for example, a strategy to achieve consistent passive income, okay, with long-term appreciation. So what that means is the following. We are looking for properties which we can rent out easily, let's say 2-bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom apartments, townhouses, semi-detached villas, those kind of products, okay? And they still have like a long-term capital appreciation potential as well. So you're looking for the combination potentially. Or number 3 could be to build a legacy portfolio out of rare and unique, limited, ultra-luxury properties, okay? So here, for example, we could build a selection out of properties in the range of Dorchester Collection, for example, Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, those kind of properties, okay? These are trophy assets and they are mostly bought from people who are looking into like generational assets, who keep them like for years and years and years in their portfolio. Completely different to choosing properties, let's say a full floor in an address building, okay, in order to rent it out in the highest possible rate. So completely different objectives, super important to clarify this first important question. Excellent. And now that we are on track of what has to be accomplished, what's our goal, let's define the exit strategies that we do have available because we want to turn our idea of the investment into actual profits, and that's only possible by understanding what we can do with the property that we're going to purchase, okay? So basically, we can break it down to 5 core exit strategies. Obviously, there are multiple different combinations that we can build together, but in order to simplify it, let's dive into those 5 different options. Number 1 is obviously the resale, okay? So the resale can happen prior to completion, on completion, or after, okay? That completely depends on different developers. So most of the cases, at least 30, sometimes 40, or sometimes even like 50% has to be paid off the payment plan in order to be able to resell your off-plan property, okay? I strongly prefer always to look out prior to completion, like let's say 6 months or 12 months before completion. This is a gradual time window to really see is there a potential for the resale in order to capitalize on the equity, okay? I made a separate video here in terms of the equity return, the ROE versus ROI. An absolute must watch in case that you have not watched it yet, okay? This is the resale. So basically here, again, during construction or after handover, and this is perfect for ROE maximization as already explained. Number 2 is the long-term rental. So basically, if you want to earn stable 5 to 8% yield, okay, in prime areas. This is absolutely possible in Dubai's real estate market. This is something which you can go, okay, or if your goal is to have like passive income and capital preservation, you want to go more on the safe side, this is possible here as well. Number 3 is the opportunity to actually rent out the apartments short term, okay? So basically the classical holiday home model. So we're having like the opportunity to maximize our ROI through an Airbnb style income. And these types of properties, they work perfectly if they are like in more touristic areas, okay? So that can be like downtown, or in the future Creek Harbor, for example, or definitely beachfront. Beachfront, seafront will always work out great for those kind of models. This is strategy number 3. And then we're diving into strategy number 4, okay? Which is obviously the opportunity to own your own home. This is a strategy as well, right? The own use / hybrid model. So what that means is we're speaking about here your dream home in the first place. It's a lifestyle asset that you're acquiring here in Dubai. And number 2, you can use it as a holiday home, okay? And potentially rent it out whilst you're gone. So these are options which you have available as well. And then last but not least, obviously, we can refinance a certain amount of that off-plan property on completion. So let's say we have a 60-40 payment plan, or sometimes even a 50-50 payment plan, okay? And we can mortgage and refinance that final installment payment on completion, which is quite attractive as well, okay? So basically, as I mentioned here, mortgage the final installments on completion, and then you're having like the rental income, okay, because you're owning the property which is completed now, you're renting it out, and the rental income is covering the mortgage rate. These are the different exit strategies. Incredible. The definition of the goal has given us clarity of where we're heading. The selection of the exit strategy has given us a great foundation of what to do with our investment and how to actually accomplish our goal. And normally there are multiple steps ahead before we actually make the final decision and before we come to the product selection. So for example, we're diving into the comparison of different developers. But for this particular video, I cut out this part with the developers because I made separate videos on my channel, This is Simon, where I'm breaking down the categories of different developers, the specific single developers, their strength points, their weaknesses, what are they known for, and so on. So therefore, we're directly jumping into the product selection. And here again, I could make it extremely complicated and sophisticated, but that's not helping anyone. So that's exactly why I'm keeping it short and simple. When it comes to the product selection, I go out for 3 main categories, and these are the categories which you see right in front of you. So when it comes to choosing and selecting a specific property, I look out for villas and mansions in the first place. I look out for waterfront developments, and I look out for ultra luxury branded residences, hospitality brands mainly, okay? Why? Supply and demand. When we're looking at villas and mansions, we have an undersupply, period. There's not even a question about it. Why? Because the demographic of Dubai has changed. People who are coming to Dubai right now are HNWIs, ultra HNWIs, families, people with large net worths, people who want to do business here, people who see themselves over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years in Dubai, if not longer, people who want to stay their whole life here, okay? And this is exactly why the demand for those houses is extremely high, and the supply is not even close to actually matching the demand. Extremely important. Separate videos are going to follow on my channel where I'm explaining that in depth and where I'm giving you the numbers. But basically, a villa, I mentioned, that stands for like a legacy product. It's literally perfect for lifestyle, capital growth, okay? So looking at the capital appreciation, a standalone villa in a prime community, which a huge plot makes compared to your apartment in a similar area, the villa mostly outperforms the apartment. Now, a couple of examples which are thrown in here when it comes to the villas. The Oasis by Emaar, an exceptional master development, okay? The Acres Estates, by the way, you'll find separate videos for all of those products on my channel. Palm Jebel Ali, okay, and District 11 as a master plan with multiple different plots which are dedicated to great developers, but you have to be specific there as well. And then obviously Dubai Lands, so that the whole area in between E311 and E611, these are all like the areas which I'm looking out for when it comes to villa products. Now, these products are obviously perfect for end users, so for people who want to live in there, and for people who can long-term hold on those products, okay? Especially who want to like extend their generational wealth. So this is a perfect long-term horizon product, if I can tell it that way, okay? Now, number 2 is waterfront. Waterfront is definitely by far the product with the most limited supply, okay? So it's very rare, it's very unique. So if you look at the whole coastline of Dubai, separate videos are made for that as well. We're speaking about roughly 3 to 5% maximum of the properties overall of Dubai can be on the coastline, okay? Seafront and beachfront. This is extremely important for you to understand. That's why the ROE and ROI is mostly the highest with those kind of properties. And oftentimes it's an emotional appeal, okay, for people who are buying this, because like living on the water is something unique and incredible. Now, next example here, what do we have? I'm giving you 3 different examples. Obviously, Palm Jebel Ali is a waterfront destination as well, but I put it in the category of villas and mansions. We're having the Jumeirah Peninsula master plan, okay? Maritime City, which is going to be renamed into Jumeirah Peninsula. Beyond by Omnia is the master developer, an incredible product to look out for. J1 Beach, super exclusive. This is perfect for ultra HNIs, for people who seek privacy, okay? A video is coming on my channel, Azora Bay, Jumeirah Azora Bay by Meraz. This is a typical product which I see in there in Jumeirah Beach. So the whole area is going to be recreated. Absolutely exceptional. And number 3, Dubai Islands. Dubai Islands is a long-term project, okay? Nakhil is the master developer. This can take years until it is completed because it's massive, all right? However, certain islands, of those 5 interconnect islands, they really make sense. These products really make sense, especially when it comes to villas and mansions there, because on islands Z and D, if I'm not completely mistaken, we will find a golf course. So we're speaking about beachfront, waterfront mansions or villas with a golf course as well. So just imagine what that has to be done with the capital appreciation. And these types of products, they're great for resale strategies, obviously, okay? Short-term rental income as well as long-term rental income. Now, last but not least, my personal favorite overall, the category of ultra-luxury branded residences. Because here we're speaking about so-called trophy assets, okay? These are properties which have a global prestige, okay? And they are perfect for wealth preservation, basically. And in times like these, this is quite an important motive for some of my clients. And the ultra-luxury development is basically oftentimes seen in a combination with ultra luxury hospitality brands. Just to name a couple of examples, the Dorchester Collection, okay, is what we can find together with Omniat. Bulgari is what we can find with Meraz as a master developer, okay? We see Jumeirah, okay? Started with Master Al Arab, for example, Burj Al Arab, this is Jumeirah. And now we see it in J1 Beach with the Azora Bay mansions, as already seen, and the Azora Bay residences, an incredible development. Four Seasons, okay? We see the Four Seasons private residences in Jumeirah, as well as upcomingly private residences in DFC, and as well in Jumeirah, as well as in DFC, we see the Four Seasons Hotel, okay? And all of those 4 developments are done by H&H. And then we have Ritz-Carlton, just as an example. We find the prestigious, very, very unique and rare Ritz-Carlton mansions, okay, by MAC Developments, directly on the waterfront, and super, super luxurious and interesting product as well, okay? So this is basically just an insight of the products, and these products are perfect for HNIs and for ultra HNIs who want to build like an exclusive legacy grade portfolio. So what that means is these people, they tend to look out for, and if you are one of them, you're basically looking out for having a property which is seen as a long-term generational asset, right? Because it's prestige, it's status, it's like, it's nice to be in one of those properties where only 20, 30 or maximum 40 units exist overall, right? And we have a couple of examples which I already mentioned here, especially with Omniat, especially with Meraz, for example, right? So basically, this is the overall segment. Now, if you are someone with a net worth of 20, 30, 50, 100 million USD, or you're a billionaire, then this segment might be perfect for you, because in Dubai, we will see more and more of those developments in the future. And right now, it's extremely limited. I'm going to create a separate video for this particular category, and you will see that we basically have a complete undersupply of ultra luxury completed residences here in Dubai. So the demand will be enormous. It's a perfect home in terms of quality standard for your lifestyle. And these properties, believe me, they will outperform many, many other properties on the market, okay? Because they're so rare and the demand is extremely high. If that's overall information which I've given you so far in the last couple of minutes is connecting with you, then I'm offering you to apply for a consultation. Just click the link below this particular video, okay? Fill out the form, give me some upfront information, the more the better. And let's have a one-on-one consultation. I will take 45 minutes of my time, and I will consult you in the best possible way, okay? I'd love to create strategies. I'd love to give you insights and like brainstorm with you what we can do, how we can build a portfolio, how we can look out for the perfect home for you, okay? This is basically my offer. With that being said, click the link below this particular video, fill out the form. See you on the other side, and see you in Dubai.